What it is. Welcome back to another episode of the Big T Debate. I go by the name of Danny Pacheco. Now, if you're not so familiar with what goes down here, we pretty much just talk about everything that is related to pop culture and music. And see, now I just said that. I feel like it's only right for you to just, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. And if you are listening from Spotify or Apple Music, just click follow and share this to as many people as you can. I don't even know where to start because, it's been a big week, one that's been really positive, because sometimes just thinking about the negative things and the scandals that we feel like we can't really run away from when it comes to this whole music thing. Me having to just talk about them or like even get into a position where I feel like I have to just a couple of things. It sometimes weighs on my shoulders, so it feels good to just know that this week especially when it comes to music, and speaking of music, A-Reece, 25K, Hustler's Prayer. I feel like that's really a dope song and a dope note for us to just start and, just talk about. I feel like, the single in itself has been something that's been in the works for some time because before just, A-Reece jumping into the studio with 25K, I did see A-Reece himself through TWC book 25K with the mini shows that they used to host there by Top Floor, which was like some other club in Pretoria by Arcadia, and they used to have this New Year's Eve kind of event. And I remember even just seeing 25K in that lineup for the first time and just thinking to myself like, yo, I really wonder how these dudes would actually work out in a song because they come from two different worlds. The other one's like a storyteller, a poet, and then the other one, Hebat Mugwele, is like, yeah, oh, like, he made so many people proud to just, rap in their own mother tongue. Or just, pretty much just talk about Spitori in the song, or rap in Spitori, if I were to just put it in a clearer way. And just seeing them come together and actually make a song together was really dope. And it exceeded my expectations in the sense of, sometimes I like complicating things. I think too much, it works to my advantage in certain scenarios, but certain scenarios it doesn't. And luckily for me, at least in this situation, I'm just a mere listener. I'm just like an audience, just like you are. And besides me just thinking that okay, maybe the song might have not worked out over just like this one thing I've been deliberating for years. Even when I started seeing these dudes just working with regards to just like 25K being booked at A-Reece's events, I've always wondered like, yo, could 25K be the one dude to actually bring back 25 A-Reece actually to that world of like now rapping and Sotho, Setswana, or like just mixing it up, just adding that Spitori lingo. And I guess unfortunately that didn't really happen, but like that doesn't say that the song in itself wasn't strong or like even A-Reece's verse wasn't as good because it triggered a whole lot of people. So a lot of individuals on Twitter pretty much just talking about how it was like a young wake up call. Just listening to that A-Reece verse, it woke up a lot of people. Evoked a whole lot of emotions. But still, their parents, like just about the pandemic in itself and what it means. So if we're talking about relevancy and music, pretty much just like sticking to this time and connecting with the current state that we in, that's what that song is. And even the title in itself, I feel like both of them would have done an injustice if they didn't give us like the verses that we needed from him, or like the messaging was maybe might have been pretty off. Would have been a different situation. I would have been talking about the song in a different light or a different note. So that was really dope just to see people just reacting to the song the way that they did, and for 25K himself to actually get a number one uh, charting song on Apple Music. I'm not so sure if it was like on the hip hop charts or was like overall. But a part of me thinks that it might have been overall. I still might have to just double check on that. But just him just getting a number one, regardless, is like something really big. Just releasing a single like that, because I know for a fact a lot of people might not think that, hey, this might be your regular sounding radio song, charting kind of single, to release as an actual single off the album. But I think in the grander scheme of things, it's going to make sense. It's like a piece to a bigger puzzle. And I remember you just talking to a friend of mine and just telling him like, yo, ish, no, you feel like I'm not all like 25 because like if he keeps on releasing more of these goodies, man, like I think he might ruin like the whole experience, the whole listening experience to an album. I remember even having conversations with a friend of mine back in the day because we used to be like music hippies. I'm not saying that any of that has changed, but like people grow, Thomas Span or whatever. But every time we were released, not released, but like just talk about new music releases, actually, it would be this thing of, hey man, I'm really off this whole single stuff. I'd rather just wait for the album to actually drop. For to some degree, I feel like it kind of clouds my judgment on certain songs or how I feel like the entire album experience might be like. So I think I'm getting back into that bag, even though those are my friend's sentiments in terms of like how he feels about people releasing singles. But like, I feel like I'm also just getting back into that bag where I'm relating and connecting with them, especially when it comes to this new 25K release. I think from now on, moving forward, I'm just not going to listen to anything that he releases till we get the full on album. But I guess, we left it a couple of days from me just recording this, just talking about this right now, is like what, the 7th. And if I'm doing my maths right, I think we got like a good 16 days. 16 days, if I'm not mistaken. A good 16 days. And speaking of actual album releases within the month of July, someone that's actually more so like a label mate, because it's tricky, like the whole Piff situation with 25K, but I know he's part of the Piff family. And then I did mention like a couple of weeks back, I think, yeah, one of the previous episodes I was talking about how this Stein Entertainment Company, which owns Rocking the Daisies, which owns the whole real estate empire. I don't know if I'm saying this correctly or something, but that place called Stein City. Those same individuals, they own that place, and then like I did mention, Rocking the Daisies, and now they own not really own, but like they're in partnership with who's this guy, Von Theo, who happens to be Zuchi Coke Dope's now manager, and he used to be Shane Eagle's manager. And he also manages Bonte, who's Pretty Ugly's wife, and he manages Pretty Ugly. So now they sign this joint venture agreement together to just go into a whole partnership where Stein Entertainment in a way will be releasing most of the projects under those individuals' labels. I mean, like Pretty Ugly's got Gas, which is global African sounds, and then you got Zuchiko Dope also has got Piff. And like I did mention earlier on, I'm not so sure. Seeing that 25K sound that deal with Sony Music Africa, how things come into play, but it's really nice to see like, okay, label mates, sort of like family mates, competing on that level of, okay, 25K is releasing on the 23rd. And as far as I know, Pretty Ugly is also releasing an album called The Soil on the 27th. So it's going to be a nice month for hip hop, pretty much in SA. And just for those dudes as, family mates / label mates, since, kind of twisted up in my mind in terms of what that means on a business front in terms of like 25K situation. Because at the end of the day, like, he's still family to Piff. He recorded the album, I like to think, at Zuchi Studios. Zuchi curated the whole entire album, produced it, executive produced the album, came up with the whole direction concepts. So it's going to be really nice to just see, how these things play out actually. What's also grand is the fact that someone that after listening to an interview I grew so much respect for, which is Costa Titch, is now pretty much just like owning up and delivering on the promises that he mentioned on this other Lab Live interview that he did with Ricky Rick. And the dude's from what's this thing called? See, he having to have these moments, but like Zeus Omega and this other dude who happens to be like his best friend. They have a page which is for the culture. I'm forgetting what that page is, but like, they pretty much just like disseminate information related to just, the culture in itself. They played a big role in just, nurturing a whole lot of talent. the new wave of artists that we know today, they have, played a part in actually making them who they are today. And during that interview in itself, they're just discussing a whole lot of things. And one of the things that Costa Titch was talking about in that Lab Live interview is that how the COVID situation in a way just like made his workings and the way he wanted to move a bit difficult for him, because like there were certain things that he was planning and he was not able to actually do those things because of the pandemic in itself. And one of those things was the transition from the Made in Africa album to now recording a bunch of music and not being able to just drop it the way that he wanted to drop it, or even just drop the music in itself, And 2 weeks ago he dropped No Maganjani, and just when I thought that he's not gonna stop, he came back again with another banger featuring Blackie, and Phantom Steez was also just someone really dope there by that camp of Titch Gang. And what I really found really dope about that song itself is the fact that it was co-produced by Costa Titch and O31 Chop, and there's one other individual that I keep on forgetting. But that song itself is really amazing because I remember just thinking to myself, like, I love Costa Titch. I believe he's got bangers in him, but like, I'm still yet to feel like he's dropped a dope verse that I really vibe with. Not saying that he hasn't had any solid verses with the music that he's released so far, but just I've been wanting to get that moment where I feel like, yeah, this dude actually wowed me with the stuff that he released. And when he dropped that song, I was like, yeah. These people now, like, they're really working, they're really hungry for this thing. And it was just like a young testament to just everything, or not even a testament, just like, when you reassure yourself of everything that you've been saying, when you reassure yourself of everything that you've been saying, and you get to see it happen, like in terms of like the music that you're releasing, and just like the momentum that carries the music in itself. Because like he was like, I've got bangers, I'm still gonna make more bangers on that Lab Live interview, and that's what he's been doing pretty much, just like dropping music consistently, because he understands that we're in a time where, in as much as like a lot of people are inside, but the way we consume music is like, hey, it's like that's that whole process with how we consume music. So for him to just keep on having that momentum of I'm gonna drop is really something commendable. And I wanted to big up the Major Steez kids also, because even when I first heard that Utini song that I was just talking about by Costa Titch, at first, just because of what Must Be Dubs has actually been doing there by that camp in terms of like incorporating a whole lot of lock drum in the beats that they make, I automatically thought that even the not even the Major Steez song, but the Costa Titch song that was co-produced by Costa Titch himself and 031 Chopper was actually produced by Must Be Dubs. But it so happens that at least this song kind of adds on that momentum that Must Be Dubs has actually been on, in terms of creating these beats which are so Amapiano influenced with the lock drum, and he did one for those bros, man. Major Steez with that song that he dropped called Too Easy. So you get to see the visuals, because last time I saw on the Instagram, they posted like a young trailer / preview to the song, and the song actually features Must Be Dubs and CK, who we all famously know as Teddy from Gomorrah. So that was really dope to see. And I really like the run that they've been on, Major Steez. They started off in the game as just like some R&B type kids, and I was not so sure where that was headed. But in terms of like the music that they've dropped since like 2019, leading up to where we are in now 2021, you can see that hip hop is really their space and they're really dominating it. And it feels like there's someone really dope in their corner directing them in terms of like how we should move, and this is how we should attack it, because like the music in itself is connected with me. And as much as like some people might feel like hey Pacheco just a hot brand but like if that music in itself could connect with me, with someone who's like 26, and I make it sound like I'm 40 or something, but like I'm connecting with the music. So imagine what this song in itself especially when the video drops. What's it gonna do to your grandma and your grandpa? They're probably gonna be shaking their bodies to this. I'm pretty sure that because like it really encapsulates like the roots and everything that is to be likable with just being South African. And I guess like for us to just close off a bunch of other things that I want to mention. I want to congratulate Oscar Mbo. Not only for just him just hitting 500,000 streams overall across all platforms for the Groovest album, but the fact that in a time where not too many house DJs are being celebrated, he still gets the trend after releasing a brand new EP called The Defenders of House. I think that's something really big. And I wouldn't even have gone to this point of me addressing, Oscar Mbo the way that I'm addressing him if it wasn't for an individual who made me even think about that statement that I just said, just for him to just being a house DJ and Hotzanamo Twitter, being the first person on the trending list. That's really crazy because like we in a time where if we're not talking Amapiano, we're talking hip hop, and that's just that. And I guess like with hip hop, I could say we could leave room for R&B because like they more or less genres which have complemented each other over the years. So I mean, it's the same story in the States, it's the same story in SA. Like you kind of cannot have, and I'm not saying you can't have a hip hop career without having like an R&B artist like giving you a hook or giving you some help in terms of the vocal department, but like to some degree, like when you picture like really successful hip hop acts, you would see that they have missed with R&B, and it's been vice versa also, like where R&B artists are missing with hip hop artists. So for Oscar to just be where he is right now and still carrying the flag for house is really dope. I mean, 500,000 almost subscribers, 500,000 streams for a house album. That's really dope. And I'm one individual who's actually even gotten like a young sneak peek in terms of like what's been happening there behind the scenes. Not saying that I was there physically, but like there's a homie of mine who was doing some videography work for Oscar Mbo, and he was just letting me in on like what's actually happening down there at that camp. And you could tell like this dude really like worked hard to just get where he's gotten, from the endorsements to even the shows in itself. Those points where it was him pretty much just curating these shows for himself during a lockdown where there's a certain amount of people allowed at certain pubs. He was making sure that okay, if I drop this album, I'm gonna make the most out of this album. So for him to just drop an EP and then trend, I think that's really incredible. And even the EP in itself is really dope. And it kind of affirmed this thing that I didn't believe in for a while, because I've always thought that only like house and hip hop or like genres where not even house and hip hop, but like R&B and hip hop or genres where people actually sample music. And it's only after I listened to Julian Gomez's and at Jazz's what's this album called, Big Bad Crazy, where a friend of mine pretty much just told me like, yo, sampling's always been a thing in house, and that's how I feel about the Defenders of House EP. It's like there's a whole lot of sampling going on, and for all the right reasons, because it brings you back. Like if you're someone who might maybe not be a big fan of deep house, or you might be in need of like some sort of education in terms of like what the music back then sounded like. I think Defenders of House EP in a way plays a big role in just like bring you back to that, like yo, this is how music in itself used to sound. So it kind of like encapsulates those times in terms of the music in itself. Another interesting thing for us to just close off that I found really dope was the fact that we might be getting a Reason song, and it's a different Reason song. It's Reason on another piano song. So this IG live, DJ Maphorisa, I was like, yo, hey, if you guys are still going to continue writing this dude Reason off, I think you have no reason now, for sure. And I didn't really mean to just make that part, but legit people don't have no reason to hate on Reason, to be honest, because the bars on that song, him getting into this bag of just, Vernac, rapping in Zulu and just mixing it up, it really sounds dope. And I feel like, there wouldn't be a better time for people to just experiment with this music thing. I'm not saying that every rapper should be on Amapiano, but like, yo, if you have that sauce, why not? Might bring about like some really dope opportunities. I mean, look at what Foka is right now. A lot of us are starving. A lot of artists are just waiting for the president to actually get the country back to where it was, in terms of like, opening up a couple of things that might open up the economy. And for now, people are just chilling at home. But like, yo, if you're trying to get to some bread, maybe piano might be the solution. And just like that, I think that's where we're going to end things off today. I go with the name of Danny Pacheco, if you didn't know. And this has been the Big T Debate. Peace.